What a weekend it was for NDSU Athletics and the US of A. A pair of Summit League basketball regular season championships. Bison Wrestling claimed the Border Belt for the first time in 4 years. The U.S. Olympic hockey team won gold in Milan. And Kansas City basketball, maybe the worst team I've ever seen. Welcome to Bison's Overtime Show, everybody. I'm Grant Hubbard alongside Ethan Nybach. Peter Avelko will join us throughout the hour. What a weekend it was in Bison sports. Yesterday, not so much, Ethan Nybach.
Yeah, it's fun beating the Jackrabbits last night. Was not that, and we'll get into it, but yeah, it was a good weekend overall.
Right up front, we appreciate Braden Byers' interview you just saw with him from the Collegiate and Brookings to give us his insight on the Jack side of things when it comes to the Bison move up to the Mountain West. We appreciate Braden's time. Maybe we can have him back on in the near future. I'm not wearing Bison stuff. Don't freak out. It's still Under Armour, repping the US of A because we won gold in Milan because we beat the Canadians. Not once, but twice. Anyways, let's just start with NDSU Wrestling. I don't think we've ever talked wrestling on this show before. We're going to talk about it briefly. Again, hats off, Bison Wrestling. They went to Brookings. They were playing for the wrestling for the Border Bell. I'm trying to use the right verb or adjective to describe it. But so the Border Bell is a traveling trophy, the only traveling trophy the Jacks can win from here on out, moving forward with the Border Bell. Bison, they went into Brookings and they won the Border Bell, defeating 19th ranked South Dakota State 20-13. They trail with 3 duels left. Devin Wasley, 24th ranked wrestler in his weight class, pair of takedowns to upset Bennett Berge, was the 5th ranked wrestler in the weight class. That's pretty good. We had a nice run against the Jackrabbits here until last night.
Yeah, I don't think people realize how big of an upset this truly is.
Yeah, it was.
The NDSU wrestling program has not been what it was the last few years, and now it's hopefully on the rise. South Dakota State's really good at wrestling. Yeah. This is a huge upset. Yeah,
got some news for the Summit League tournament scheduling now, because now we know the Bison men and women will be the 1 seed in Sioux Falls. So the women will play on 2:30 Thursday afternoon in Sioux Falls.
Yep.
We'll see who the opponent is. It'll be UND or Omaha, more than likely. There'll be a game played in between on Thursday, and then the men will play at 6 o'clock against the winner of somehow if Kansas City beats Oral Roberts, which, as we saw, not likely.
Don't think so.
No, but going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But first, we want to talk about this. We got conference opponents for the Mountain West this coming fall. The home opponents: University of Texas, El Paso, Wyoming, Nevada, and Northern Illinois. The road games will be University of Nevada, Las Vegas, New Mexico, Hawaii, and Air Force. I'm not going to say these scheduling people helped us out, because I would like to have seen one of those 4 road games switched the other way around. But hey, at least we know who we're playing for 8 of the 11 to maybe 12 games here.
Yeah, I think the home schedule, we'll obviously get into our way too early prediction for the record, but I think the home schedule, they should be able to walk through this. Nevada might be a little bit improved. Those other three programs were awful last year.
Yeah.
The away, we talked about the destinations. You got all 3 destinations and a super sick campus in Air Force you can go to.
Yeah, again, as you saw with our intro with the hangover, I mean, that's how I expect all of us to be. And that could carry to Vegas or Honolulu if we can get the funds together to go out there. Again, as Ethan mentioned, the home opponents last year, so the combined records of UTEP, Wyoming, Nevada, and NIU, 12-36.
Ouch.
Ouch. On the road, these teams were good. UNLV won 10 games last year. New Mexico and Hawaii won 9. Air Force was 4-8 last year. Total record 32-20. That's pretty good.
Yeah, the away opponents, like we said, other than Air Force, it's going to be those are going to be toss-up games, and especially with the traveling fatigue, it's something these guys haven't really dealt with, because a lot of these trips are bus trips in the valley, and yeah, it's not going to be like that anymore.
Definitely not. But again, Vegas, Honolulu, Albuquerque, New Mexico, and a military academy. Now we're talking. That's better than Terre Haute.
Yeah.
It's better than normal.
Just a little bit.
Better than Murray. I think we'll take that. So let's just talk about this quickly. Conference prediction. You see the 8 games. What do we think our record's going to be?
I've got 6-2 as of now. I think that, the home schedule, I think they go 4-0. I could see them splitting those away games. I think Air Force, they win pretty handily. Hawaii, I think they're better than them. It's just, that's a long trip to play football.
Yeah.
And then New Mexico is going to be motivated to play. Jason Eck wants to beat the Bison. And UNLV is going to be really tough. That's a really good team.
Yeah, Hawaii is going to be good. I really, because we talked to Niles Hall last week from San Jose State. The one team we're not playing in the conference is who we interviewed. No offense, Niles, just making fun of you, pal. But I mean, I would have liked to have played them, but instead we're going to face these 8 schools. I think they go 7-1. I feel good about this. Now again, I said to lose to either Hawaii or UNLV. UNLV is not going to sell out Allegiant Stadium by any stretch of the imagination. So it'll probably be 36,000 people to be generous. In Hawaii, I think their seats about 24,000, but it's more the distance for Hawaii. I agree. Like, that's going to be tough.
Yeah.
But if it's on week 0, you got all summer to prep for that kind of trip. It's like when the Vikings go to London.
Yeah.
Like it's something you just kind of have to get used to over time. And NFL players do this almost every year at this point, so they're kind of used to it. But if you're the strength staff at Ryan Napoli, have all summer to prep these guys for this trip. And I assume they may have a bye week after, maybe. We don't know the non-conference schedule yet. Well, apparently it was leaked on Twitter. Can we try a little bit before we tweet about our schedule? You don't know what to don't tweet about it, but off the soapbox. So we'll see how this ends up. I think they can handle it. It's uncharted waters though. So we'll see how this goes.
Yeah, I think something cool about this is you think about UNLV in Vegas. It's like the Super Bowl was played there 3 years ago. And
it's going to be there next couple years too.
Yeah, and there's a lot of history there already. And Hawaii, you hammered on it. The strength crew is going to have their hands full with that.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a little bit like preparing when they went to Tucson, because that was a night game.
Because it was the heat thing.
Yeah,
that was the thing for that game though.
It was like borderline 90 degrees, and they had to prepare for that. They had to make sure everyone was hydrated.
So pickle juice, bananas, everything to keep the potassium in your body then for that.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of preparing for that, but it's gonna be fun. I'm very intrigued to see how many Bison fans are in Hawaii.
Yeah, I think 7-1. I think they win the 4 games at home. It just comes down to how do they handle Air Force again. The triple option of Air Force. They haven't played a triple option team. 17 was it Wofford in 17? Yep. Hawaii, I'd say they're a better version of those Sam Houston teams we saw in the late teens, where it was Nathan Stewart and Jeremiah Briscoe. Problem is Marquise Bridges were getting in the way one too many times, but I'm done making fun of Sam Houston. New Mexico again, it's a Jason Eck coach team. It's a South Dakota State disciple.
Yeah,
he's gonna have everything ready to go for that game. And UNLV, I mean, they're along with Hawaii, they're the preseason favorite to win the league. If the Bison are 7-1 and the waiver goes through, they may be playing for a CFP spot.
Yeah,
so we'll see.
Yeah, I think later on in the spring we'll talk about our preseason poll for the Mountain West. But I think right now it's UNLV's got to be number 1. I think the Bison are either 2 or 3. It depends on where you want to put Hawaii.
Yeah.
New Mexico lost a lot, so we'll see. But I'm very excited to see these destinations. I think the Bison are in good shape.
Yeah, I'm going to paraphrase our BIN News anchor, Hallie Opsel. She comes into our studio yesterday and she goes, Are we going to suck? Are we going to be bad at football in the Mountain West? And I said, Hallie, it's North Dakota State. They're going to be fine. Not trying to dig on Hallie, but I mean, they're going to be, the Bison are going to be fine. I mean, seriously. I think the floor is 5-3. I don't see them losing one of those home games. No. I don't. I mean, we're seeing all these new accounts come at us and say, watch for Northern Illinois, watch for Air Force. Air Force I respect because I respect all the military academy schools. Like, you guys are defending our freedom. I am going to be at most saluting you guys. But they were 4-8 last year. They're another team that struggled with injuries along Northern Illinois. So every year is a new year. It's kind of like, this has become basically like playing in the Summit League in football. Every year you just don't know what other schools are going to look like, other than probably UNLV, because they have a really good coach in Dan Mullen. They have a new quarterback that looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Like they've got talent. Like San Jose State, I know, like as we talk about Niles, they have good pass catchers. That's about it. Like, these teams have identities. Yep. Wyoming's physical. Nevada, it's Jeff Choate as the coach, so they're going to play tough. I mean, every team's got something going for them, but the Bison do too, and they're going to be right up there, I think, in this conference.
Yeah, and I think Jackson Arnold's at UNLV now.
Yes, so that's the name. I couldn't think of his
name. That's an SEC QB, even though he did. I mean, he was bad.
Didn't play well.
He was bad at Auburn, but that's still an SEC quarterback. But I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Out of these 4 home games, which one do you think the Bison are in the most danger of losing?
Ooh, probably Wyoming.
I think it's either Wyoming or Nevada. I think UTEP and Northern Illinois are going to be not good, especially Northern Illinois losing their head coach.
Wyoming plays a physical brand of ball like the Bison. It's strength against strength. The teams that beat NDSU were the ones that were much more physical.
Yeah.
Illinois State was more physical. They were. Wyoming is a physical team. I'm not saying they're as talented as NDSU is, but they're definitely physical.
Craig Bull,
because Bull was there, right? Yep, there you go.
It's going to be the Bull. It's going to be a fun game to see.
You know who's bad, physical, and soft? That's Kansas City basketball.
Yeah.
My God, were they bad? That was. I leaned over to Isaac Dienison was doing the sideline. Former Ben alumnus, by the way. He was doing the sideline for WDAY. I leaned over to him and I said, "This is the most unserious basketball game I've watched all year." Like, the Omaha women's game was really unserious. This was as unserious as it got. I mean, this was just a beatdown.
Yeah, Kansas City they're disgusting. They're not good. Yeah. I don't see any spark on this team. And we talked about last week, their leading scorer is 25th in the Summit League. horrendous. This
And
team's
Carmelo Branch
bad.
had 9 points as leading scorer.
Nice. That's just not good. 37.5 from the free throw line. I think I could do better.
They shot better from the field than they did. They almost shot as good as from the field as they did at the line. At the
Ouch.
line, they shot 37.5%. For the game, they shot 37.1%.
That's not going to win any games.
And they shot 22% from three. Ugh. It's just looking at the stats, they're almost embarrassing to look at. The Bison were plus 13 in rebounding. They got off 13 more shots than the Kansas City Roos did. They were plus, I take that back. They were plus 13 there. They were plus 27 overall in rebounding. 52 to 25 in rebounding. That was the final numbers in rebounding. Are you kidding me, Kansas City?
Here's the question. Could Peter's intramural team beat these guys? I think they could. That's how bad they are.
That's a bit of a stretch.
No.
I love Peter and his boys. I don't think they're that good.
The point being, this team is Division II level at the moment. They're bad. I don't see any.
Again, their new coach is going in saying,
Yeah, I don't know
got this to coach?
I don't know what he's seeing there. If you're planning on retiring there, good luck.
Yeah, I
Good
don't know.
legacy.
I mean, the best play. I mean, Carmelo Branch, the best player for Kansas City. He had 9 points on 4 of 11 shooting. He was a minus 25 in the game. But the worst player on the floor for Kansas City was Jason Petty. He was 1 of 9 from the floor, and he was a minus 33. Is that bad?
Ouch.
That's not good. Is how I would describe that. Kashim Grady, the second, was their leading scorer. He had 15 points. He was 6 of 12, so he wasn't too bad from the floor. I don't know what to say about Kansas City on that. They were pitiful. The Bison, on the other hand, were really good. Trayson Anderson had 20 points. He was the leading scorer in the game. Travian Carson had 12. Damari Wheeler-Thomas had 16. Stefanowicz had 13. Noah Federson had 15. He was really good as well. But again, the Bison they played every player that was that was active except Dom Clay, who's redshirting this year, so they're not going to put him in the game. But again, you know it's bad when Carson Smith has points, Caleb Schoenrock has points, and Riley Saunders has a corner three.
Yeah,
I mean, what are we doing here if we're Kansas City?
it's a really bad basketball team, and I keep looking at Andy Stefanowicz's stat lines every game. I mean, 11 assists.
Yeah.
It's unheard of. Right now, I mean, we'll do our awards down the road.
Yeah.
Right now, he's my MVP on this team.
Believe it or not, Kansas State did lead in this game. They had a 1-point lead at the 15-10 mark in the first quarter. The Bison's biggest lead was 43. That's pretty good. The Bison led for all of 21 seconds in this game. That tells you just how much they were ahead. The Bison led 22-6 in second chance points. They outscored them by 30 points in the first half. I remember at halftime, I'm not going to throw Wes Offerman under the bus, the SID, but he goes to me and he says, Grant, if they win this game, we're going to cut down the nets. And I looked at Wes and I said, Wes, there's a pretty good chance that's going to happen. You're up 30 at half. Now, he's going to hedge because he has to be the SID, be professional, which he should be. We appreciate Wes.
Mm-hmm.
But, hey, Wes, you're up 30 at the break. I think you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
And the way Kansas was shooting the basketball, in the first half, they shot 33% from the field. I think you're going to win the game. I felt pretty good at that point.
Yeah, I think they could have subbed us two in and still won that game. Kansas City is they're not athletic. They're not good at shooting.
Are you sure we can play Division I basketball?
It's
I don't
a
know.
joke.
Okay,
they're a bad basketball team.
Yeah, but that's the one thing I looked at when I looked at the stat sheet was they were plus 27. You never see that number in rebounding ever. But it's their 5th regular season Summit League title, their first since the COVID season of the season before. It got cut short because of COVID in 2020. So they played pretty well. A couple nights later, the women were in action against St. Thomas. This was a rock fight, boys and girls. This one was a game where the Bison could just never get breathing room from St. Thomas because we knew, I knew St. Thomas could compete because Alyssa Sand is a great player. Mm-hmm. I think she's the 3rd best player in this league. In terms of post players, there's Coonan, there's Meyer, and then there's Sand. You put them in any order you want, I'd probably agree with you. I mean, St. Thomas is a well-coached team. They're the one team that's willing to take the Bison guards and just post them up and score because they have the size, and they proved it. They were really good.
Yeah, you said the size thing. It's like they're the one team that can match up with them in that department. And look at the points in the paint. I mean, nobody's matched up with NDSU in that stat this year because of Avery Coonan.
Yeah.
And Coonan still had a decent day. It's just that St. Thomas borderline played better than the Bison. The Bison didn't play well.
Problem is they can't shoot the ball that well. They were 5 of 16 from 3. If they could have made a couple more threes down the stretch, they may have won this game.
Yeah.
They were really close. Again, Alyssa Sand, 22 points. She was 7 of 13, 7 of 9 at the line. She missed a couple free throws late that really doomed him in. But Autumn McCall as well. She had 14 points. Faith Feuerbach, she was really good as well. She had 7 points. Abby Valance was a guard that I was looking at because she's she's a taller guard, and when Jossie's a guard, because Jossie's 5'7", she's not small, but McCall or Valantis kind of dwarfs over her, and she just took her in the paint and scored a couple points. So they're one of those bad matchups for the Bison where if they can't shoot the ball, as we saw last night, they can get in trouble. And this would be a 1-4 semifinal if the standings were to hold right now.
Yeah, and this is the second time that they've almost lost to them. And
yeah,
St. Thomas probably played better in this game than they did in the first one.
Correct.
So it'll be scary if they play these guys in the semifinals. Hopefully ORU can beat them in that quarterfinal.
Yeah, Avery Coonan, she still had 16 points. Marissa Frost had 18 points. She was 5 of 10 from the field. She was 8 of 8 at the line as well. Abby Kraswinski, she had 14 points. She played pretty well. The Bison led for 35 minutes in this game. Didn't feel like it. It's like they had the lead, but you never felt safe about where they were at in the game.
It was, you said it. It never felt safe. It was like you get an 8-point lead, and then they cut it down right away to 2. And then, at the end of the game, I feel like like a 3-point game until they started shooting free throws? It was sketchy.
No doubt.
It was a game they 100% could have lost if they made a couple more mistakes, which definitely could have happened.
Yeah, so then they played South Dakota, and as we go into that game, the thing was, if they win this game, they get a share of the Summer League title, which was what we've been thinking about all year with this team was, can they finally be the team that ends the Schneid and finally wins a Summer League tournament, wins a Summer League championship, and is that top seed? There's no, because they've been the 2 seed a couple of times, but the Jacks were 8 games ahead of everybody else.
Yeah.
This was their chance on Saturday. And they didn't start the game great.
No.
They were down by 2 at the half. They weren't shooting the ball particularly great, but they came back and won the game. They won it 81-68. They really pounded them in the second half. They were down by 2 at the break. They outscored them 31-21 in the third, and then they outscored them by 5 in the fourth to put the game away. Just second half, when the Bison are on, they're really tough to stop. Because South Dakota, they have Angelita Robles, and she's a great player. She had 22 points, and Molly Joyce had 24. But Avery Coonan, 30 points, 14 boards. That's why they won the game.
Yeah, and they really didn't even turn it on until, I would say, very late in the third quarter. And you look at South Dakota didn't outshoot them in anything but free throw percentage.
Yeah.
And if South Dakota shoots better in this game, they probably have a good shot at winning. The score doesn't, I don't think the score represents how close this game actually was. South Dakota had all the momentum going to halftime, but Avery Coonan had probably one of her best games of her career.
Why did South Dakota lose? They shot 20% from 3, and they were 34% from the field. That's why they lost.
Yep.
I hate to boil it down to just those simple numbers, but it's accurate. That's about South Dakota in the first half, they threw everything at NDSU. Mm-hmm. They played as well as they could, and they finally ran out of gas there in the second half. Again, we talked about Joyce and Robles. Those are 2 good guards that they're going against, but the Bison actually trailed for more time than they led. They trailed for 19 minutes, were able to come back and win the game. It was also Coonan's 18th double-double this year. That's pretty good. Again, she's in line to, again, we saw, again, we'll talk about it shortly here with the Jackrabbits, that when Coonan is on and she's herself and healthy, she's the best player in this league.
Yeah,
she is.
It's just not close. And, I tweeted out on our Bison Overtime that absolute cinema thing. It's like, that's going to be a weekly occurrence because she just gets a double-double every week. And she took over in this game. Somebody that we're kind of overlooking here is Molly Lenz. She had a couple of huge three-pointers down the stretch to kind of separate them. And Schiller actually had a pretty good game too. I don't know how many points she scored.
Schiller had 11 points.
Yeah, and for the kind of offensive Bison run, that's pretty good for a point guard.
Again, second half shooting, they were really good in the second half. They were 10 of 14 in the third quarter, so that's about 71%. In the fourth quarter, they were 8 of 10. Mm-hmm. That's how you do it. In the second half, they were 4 of 6 in the fourth quarter of the line. They were 7 of 7 from the line in the third quarter. So they're just good at finding a way to put teams away. Teams that aren't the Jackrabbits, but they can find a way to put these teams away and move on. Let's just rip the Band-Aid off about last night. Let's just get it on and get it over with. I don't know how to describe this game other than that something looked off from the minute the ball was tipped, and after the game it soon became obvious that there's a reason they didn't play well. And I'm just going to read what Jory said. So after the game, Jory's in there, Peter was in the press conference, and he said he had players who were sick and not feeling well. They're more worried about breathing than boxing out. I don't want to say it's an excuse why they lost the game, because I think the Jacks will win this game regardless, but you could just tell something was off. Mm-hmm. Coonan looked slow. Molly Lenz wasn't feeling great. She also had a cramp in the third quarter that didn't help. They didn't look all the way there. And again, looking at the stat sheet, it kind of tells you why. They turned the ball over 18 times.
Yeah.
Some of those were unforced. It was just too tall of a pass or too hot of a pass, or like right in front of us, in front of me and Peter. Amelia Hobson just chucked one into the cheerleaders. Like, it was just kind of one of those games where anything that could have went wrong for NDSU.
Yeah, the biggest difference was the speed. It was like South Dakota State was just faster. They played harder, and they only shot 20% from the 3-point line. I mean, if they would have turned on from the 3-point line,
if Mathewitz was on more than she was, they would have really
been
buried them.
Bad game. I mean, this score almost feels too close for how it felt.
Yeah.
I mean, they were only down. I texted you guys, only down at half by 8. That was a win, and they had a chance at the end, and they couldn't close the gap. I mean, you can't win games shooting 14% from the 3-point line and 31 from the field.
Yeah, I sat there with Peter in the third quarter and going, if they can get it to 4, they got a shot.
Yep.
As bad as they were playing, if they could have cut it to 4, they got it to 6 a couple of times.
Yeah.
But they would have the ball. Like, there'd be a time where the Jacks couldn't score for 3 minutes, and the Bison are either turning the ball over, that's getting scraped out by a Jackrabbit guard, or they're taking a bad shot. It was just one of those games where they look gun shy. And in a game like this, I don't want that they were sick to be a part of this. The Jacks were just the better team last night. They just were. And as bad as we want to say, they just weren't feeling well. Yeah, they weren't feeling well was one thing, but you had to still have to come out and look like you're interested. They didn't look interested. I mean, the offense looked stagnant, and the Jackrabbit guards, I give them a ton of credit. They were scraping at everything when Schiller would take it down low or Frost would take it to the hole. There's 2-3 hands in there scratching at the ball, and they would get it 8 times out of 10. They did the little things.
Yeah.
They did all the little things right. That's why they won the game.
Yeah, when you're in a game like this where they're playing aggressive on defense, you got to take the ball to the hoop at some point and draw a foul or shoot a 3-pointer. I mean, how many times were people somewhat open and they just didn't shoot? I mean, if you knock a few 3-pointers down, this game gets cut down a bit. I mean, Marissa Frost, what did she shoot? 2 3-pointers the whole game, something like that. I don't know for sure, but they barely shot any 3-pointers. And how many times did they run the shot clock down? 5. It was like they were
again, I don't want to. Like, Jossie Show is a great player. Like, she's a really good player, but she looked out of it. It's just she can see the shot clock. And it was a good 3 times where it just ran out on her and she's still driving the baseline again. It was just all in all just weird. It just felt weird because Jossie's one of the smartest players in this league, and when she's forgetting the clock, either she was sick or she just had a really off game. Because that's just the way. Because I haven't seen her play that bad ever, including her days at Red River. She has not looked this bad.
Yeah, just a lot of stuff felt off, and I don't want to use the word unprepared, but it was like it was like sometimes when they go down the court, there wasn't a plan. It was like
I remember late in the half. Remember the 30 seconds left. Jossie's got the ball, and with 28 seconds to go, this is why Aaron Johnson's the best coach in this conference. He says, "Screw it, zone defense." They go to a zone, and Jossie looks over her shoulder, looking back at Jory because she didn't know what to call.
Yeah.
It was just that's why this Jackrabbit team. In order to be the champ, you got to knock the defending champs out, right? And they didn't do that last night. They didn't look prepared, maybe because of all the illnesses. I don't know, but they didn't look prepared. Again, I'm just going to look at the 3-point stats. They were 2 of 14. Can you name the 2 players who made the threes?
It was
Krzyzewski, did you
Nope.
make one?
Schiller
had one. Who had the other one?
Really? Amelia
Hobson.
Yeah.
There you go. Hobson and Schiller were the ones who made threes.
I do not remember the Schiller one, if I'm being honest.
It was at the top of the key late in the game. That's what I remember about it. They were 2 of 14 from 3. They made 15 shots the whole night.
That's not
The
good.
Jacks made 23. It's not like they made a ton more shots. But the one stat in here that I actually came up with today, NDSU guards were 7 of 30 shooting the ball.
Ugh.
That's a grand total of 23%, boys and girls. That's North Dakota State math, by the way. 23%. 7 of 30 shooting. That can't happen in Sioux Falls. It can't. I don't think it will. Me and Peter were talking about this. I don't take a lot from this game because the Bison weren't feeling great. They didn't shoot the ball great. I think now that Jory has 3 games of film on teams that are going to pack the paint and make the Bison shoot the ball, I think they have the players to shoot the ball. Like, they have a player, Molly Lenz, who would rather take a jumper than a layup. Like that's kind of player she is. But if Frost can get to the basket and Jossie has the 3 hasn't been there for her this year. But when she's feeling it like she was last year in this building when she was a member of UND, I feel good they can beat South Dakota State in that building because this team rises with the stakes. I think they can win the Summit League. They just got to play better than this.
Yeah, it's you mentioned Sioux Falls. It's like now that at-large bid's probably not going to happen. I think you have to win the Summit League. I just don't. They have the resume, they have the amount of wins, and they had that win streak. But it's just mid-major programs don't get the love they deserve. I think you have to win the Summit League now. I do. Unless you go to double overtime in Sioux Falls, it's going to be tough. But they're going to have to play much better.
Here's their case: is if they don't win the Summit League, if they have 4 losses and they lose in the championship game, their resume would be Losses to Gonzaga, who's 21-8 and is first in the West Coast Conference, likely win the tournament. Nebraska, who we've seen will probably be a 10 seed, and then the Jackrabbits. Those are their 4 losses total, because they have if they lose in Sioux Falls, those are their 4 losses. If their net rankings are in the high to low 30s, or in the 40s, I mean, if they're between 40 and 49, I don't see how you can leave them out if those are their 4 losses. So again, you don't like leaving things up to a committee because they're going to find a way to screw you. It's just kind of the way how you feel sometimes. But if those are their 4 losses, it's tough to leave them out. Even if they're a 13 seed, it's tough to leave them out in that case.
Yeah.
They have a good case, is I'm trying to make here.
Yeah, you're preaching to the choir. I think they should get in. It's just I don't trust 65-year-old men in a committee, that selection committee, that are just not good at their jobs usually. But no offense to the NCAA committees, but it's just how it is.
Well, to break down the week that was, Peter Havelka, King of the Court, it's all yours, pal.
By the way, I hate committees too, so we're all in that realm.
Well, you're a Notre Dame fan. We know.
Tough loss last night, but they got a ton more action going on this week. Heading into the clips now. Damari Willis is going to drive. Carson's going to give it to Strickland. Strickland's going to drive into the paint, but look at Damari moving in. That's going to be an easy 3-pointer on the top of the key. I mean, they shot the lights out against Kansas City. Same thing, but watch Strickland right here. Strickland is going to read this pass to number 2. Like, look at this, crazy. Picks it off, going down the other way. He's going to flush this thing with authority. Now, coming out of the break, Damari Wheeler-Thomas is going to get the ball in kind of like a pressing matter, and he's going to drive it. Kind of get to the paint, jump stop, but look at Damari trailing. It's going to be wide open at the top of the key for another tray. Now moving on. And he's going to get the ball, give it to Carson. But watch Feddersen set this screen for Noah. It's going to be a naked look, and Carson's going to give the ball to Feddersen for an easy 2 off the glass, reverse style. Now another clip with Feddersen. Scoota's going to give it to Feddersen. He's going to give it right back to Andy. But Feddersen's going to slip. But look at Carson. Carson's going to notice that the lane is wide open besides this one defender. He's going to drive in, easy finish, should have been a foul. Now, with 10 seconds left in the game, it's got to be a double screen, but Noah's going to leak out instead of Carson, which is kind of shocking, but Feddersen's going to knock it down. Now, it's going to be the same action that Feddersen does, but Anderson's going to be leaking out the leading scorer of this game, and he's going to bang out another 3. Now, this is probably one of my favorite clips, but Caleb Schoenberg is going to get a kind of a rebound, tip rebound, get it, and finish for the walk-on. Now moving on to the women's side. The first few clips are going to be from the South Dakota game last Saturday. We're going to see Kraswinski get it. She's going to give it right back to give it to Schiller, but an extra pass to Lenz. Look at Lenz shoot this with confidence. Another clip. Kunin's going to screen for Schiller, and Kunin's going to get a post up. But look at Kraswinski just slip, and they lose track of her for the easy 2. Now, Kunin's going to drive in. Abby Graham moved up, but she moved back to the corner, and it's another 3. Abby looked comfortable shooting the ball this game. The same action that we've seen all year. Kunin's going to drive, kind of post up. You're right back to Kunin. Lenz is going to shovel pass right next to Schiller for an extra pass, and a kind of an awkward shot for Schiller, but she makes it. Now, Ethan and I, we're going to be seeing this a whole bunch during the conference. Look at that Carrington ass post up. Hobson's going to have the ball right here. Give it to Kraswinski. He's going to give it back to Lenz. But this is kind of what we saw in Grand Forks with Schiller. I mean, she just makes plays out of nowhere. I kind of wish we saw that last game. Now this Jacks game. I want you guys to pay attention on how many bodies are in the paint in this play. Look at this. They're just crowding the paint in that area. And it's going to be the same thing. It's going to be an elevator screen for Hobson. And you just wish Hobson would shoot that, but she gives it right back, and it's another dig from number 3. Now it's out of bounds play from Collins. We're going to kind of see it work. Avery's going to screen. She's going to pop out, and she's going to set a screen for Lenz. Lenz is going to give it. But you see Ass is going to post up, but look at the motion. When you get the defense moving, it kind of disrupts that. Now in this clip, we're going to see Lenz get it. We're going to see Frost. It's going to be another screen. This is what you have to do to the Jacks. You have to make them move in that defense and get them unbalanced. That's what the nice finish is for. Now in this clip, we're going to see Schiller give it right back. But as we see, we're going to talk about this. Their defense was so in the paint, which made it hard for them to score. And so Hobson going to get the ball at top. But this is just kind of the motion that SDSU ran. And instead of that hesitation that Hobson had, you just wish that you would go up and shoot that ball instead of looking for that shot. Now, a couple things I had after watching the game and after watching all the clips and going into it, and I know some of the guys were talking about it, but the feeling in the first 2 minutes of action is, why is NDSU so hesitant to shoot the ball right now? And why is there confusion when the Jags switched to a zone in the last possession of the first and second quarters? I mean, it was very unexpected, but sometimes you just wish that, hey, they're in a zone look, kind of figure it out. But I mean, it just felt like they're it felt like the Bison were just in their heads the whole time. And this kind of makes the Summit League tournament more interesting because personally for me, an at-large bid is kind of thrown out, but we'll talk about it later. But I mean, it's just kind of hard right now. I mean, Don Mizzo kind of agrees with me too, but it's just kind of interesting to see where they stand now, and especially with that, the net means kind of a lot. But I mean, to get jumped by SDSU after this game, the case is kind of weird now. And lastly, when NDSU goes down early in these games, it's kind of hard for them to get the lead back. For example, in the Gonzaga game, they were 3 from 20 from 3, and they just struggled to get back into that game. And as the guys mentioned at the front desk, it's kind of hard to get back into the game when you're shooting that bad and you're just kind of struggling with turnovers and everything. And another example of this is Nebraska, where they shot 3 of 16. And to make matters even crazier, even when they split in the St. Thomas series, they still shot 9 of 28 in the series against them. So I mean, it just adds a whole nother element to it. But as I head to the front desk, we're going to go into the Summit League men's basketball standings.
Yeah, the one thing I'll say with your spiel there, Peter, is that games that when the women trail at halftime are 1-3.
Yep.
They struggle to come back in games because they have the pieces to shoot the basketball. Mm-hmm. There are times where the shots just won't go down. Like, I mean, there was, again, I leaned over to you and I said this, was that Hobson at top of the key 3 rattles around and rolls out. I said that's the whole South Dakota State game in one play. Great play design. She's wide open, rattles out. That's just kind of the way that they played in that game. And again, we beat this to death now. They just did not play well.
Yeah.
But you know what makes me happy? Hey, NDSU 113, St. Thomas 114. It's amazing how that happens. All it takes is a 2-point loss by the Tommies to make that happen. But the Bison are on top, 13-1. They can win the conference outright with a win against St. Thomas or UND. They will be the number 1 seed in Sioux Falls no matter what. So St. Thomas in there at 2, UND in there at 3. Those 1, 2, 3 spots are basically all but locked up. St. Thomas they could fall if they lose their next 2 games, but that's probably not going to happen. Denver is now in the 4th spot because they just will not lose, boys. They're 8-7. Yeah. Omaha 8-7 as well. They took a bad loss as well, so they're at 8-7. Mm-hmm. South Dakota is at the 6th line at 7-8, and South Dakota State at 6-8. That's just not a good basketball team right now. Or are you at 2-12, and then that Division II program that is Kansas City is sitting in there at the 9th spot. So, Oral Roberts, KC, the winner will play NDSU in Sioux Falls next Thursday. What do we make of the women's side? I'll show the bracket as well. Or as we see the men's side, what stands out here?
I think one of the things that stands out is Denver is sneaky and they're scary. And obviously we're going to be facing Denver or Omaha, but it's just 2 matchups that are scary right now for NDSU because, say the offense doesn't come along, I know the defense will step it up, but it's just kind of competing with shooting and everything of that aspect.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Denver might be the 2nd best team in the Summit League right now. I mean, they're similar to St. Thomas that they don't really play a whole lot of defense. The UND and USD matchup's a little intriguing because it's 2 teams that aren't super talented, but they find ways to win, it seems like. And then St. Thomas and SDSU, that's going to be a fun game to watch. And you know why? Because Tanner Castora is going to lose. And then ORU and Kansas City, I will not be watching that game.
That kind of thing, huh, when it comes to the 8-9 game?
Yeah.
It's Summit League tournament. I'll watch it. I don't care. I'll watch it. Women's side of things, Bison's still on top. They're at 14-1 overall in conference play. They're not going to fall out of the 1 spot. They have it locked up. They own the tiebreaker over the Jackrabbits even with the loss. Jackson, they're at 2. South Dakota at 3. And then line of demarcation, and you really need to read 4 through 9. I will anyway. St. Thomas in there at 4. The one team that can match up with NDSU outside of South Dakota State is St. Thomas. We saw that at the Shack. If that's a 1-4 game, that will be a 40-minute game. ORU in there at 5. And then Denver, Kansas City, UND, Omaha. No one cares. As we go to the bracket itself, North Dakota State in there at the 1 spot. They'll get the winner of UND and Omaha. Again, what is with that logo with UND? My God. ORU, St. Thomas, South Dakota State would face Kansas City. And then South Dakota and Denver. What do we got on the women's side, fellas?
Which is, that 8-9 game doesn't really look to the part. I'm kind of excited.
First to 40 wins.
First to 40 wins. But no, I mean, that 3 versus 6 matchup, I mean, Denver's not a good women's team.
No.
But you could definitely see, I think out of everything, that team is I think that team could pull off an upset in this one. Both tournaments, the 3 versus 6 game is going to tell us a lot about where the tournament is going to go.
Yeah.
But no, I am, I said that before, like, it's kind of worrisome that it's St. Thomas, and St. Thomas has kind of paved the way for the game plan on how to stop, on the women, because they just pack the paint as well. So, like I said, it's just going to take a lot of shooting once to get this win.
Yeah.
Yeah, I honestly think this tournament starts in the semifinals other than the St. Thomas ORU game. ORU, I wanted to give them flowers for almost beating the Jacks, and then they go out and they lose to Omaha.
Yeah.
Seriously. Come on, guys. But then South Dakota State, South Dakota, that'll be a fantastic semifinal, and then Bison and St. Thomas, likely that'll be a tough game for the Bison. First round doesn't do a whole lot for me, I'm going to be honest, but yeah, it's going to be a fun tournament.
Did you guys hear the stats last night from that Omaha game and Oral Roberts?
It's a bit nuts.
It was I'm not going to say them because I'm not 100% accurate on it, but I think some gal off the bench had 40 points. A freshman had, I believe, 0 points and 23 rebounds. 23 rebounds.
Sounds like an average night for you in the EDC. 0 points, 23 rebounds.
It's like, what? I saw the box score, and I'm not a box score watcher, but I was like, 40 points out of this person, 30 points out of this person, and 23 rebounds. What a Superman stat.
Omaha women's basketball.
I don't know what to say.
They're still here.
Yeah. Well played, sir. What do we got for the bracketology?
Yeah, so kind of an interesting bracket here. The Bison men would be playing in Portland, out of all places. They'd be playing Alabama, who me and Peter talked about should not be a 4 seed. Duke is the number 1 in their bracket, playing App State. Iowa and Georgia, that's kind of a weird matchup, intriguing. And then Rick Pitino and St. John's will be playing Liberty. So if the Bison somehow
Liberty.
Yeah, if the Bison somehow pull off the upset, they might be playing Rick Pitino. But then shifting to the women's side, this was before last night. This is on Tuesdays is when these come out, so this probably will change next Tuesday. They're a 10 seed playing NC State in Iowa City, so only an 8-hour drive for Bison fans.
Let's do it, boys.
Yeah, and then App State in this bracket as well, playing Iowa. And then Duke is in this bracket too, playing McNeese. And then Georgia playing Fairfield, I guess. So
Something called Fairfield.
Yeah, that's what we got for the
is that a chain of hotels? Is that what that is? Just checking.
I'll say this, I think next week when this comes out, the women will still be in it. I think they're more
We
like
probably mean 11 or a 12.
I think they're at 12. I think when the bracket comes out, I'm with Peter. I think they got to win the Summit League. I think it's going to get really hairy down the stretch if they can get in on an at-large bid.
Yeah. Before we get to Ethan's hot takes, the ones we can cross off. Ethan, January 21st, made 2 of them. NDSU women will win their next 8 games to reach 23 straight. That's where the streak ended, so well done there. NDSU with number 1 seed in the Summit League in both sides. Amen to that. Ethan got one wrong, Peter got one wrong. Ethan, February 5th, women won't lose a game until March Madness. Peter on February 12th. They'll lock up the 1 seed at St. Thomas on the men's side. Locking it up early is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
We're talking outright.
Yeah, we're talking outright, right. But it's okay. That's the one I think you're okay being wrong on. So Ethan's 41% on hot takes. My garbage, 31%. Peter is 40%, but again, he's 2 of 5. He'll have hot takes next week, but Ethan's got them this week. What do we got?
Yeah, so my first one I have, we love to do our attendance hot takes, which we shouldn't have to do, but I got a combined 8,500 fans in attendance for the doubleheader on Saturday. Last year there was only 7,000. The women only got just over 2,000. I think the men will get 5,000. They always do for the UND game. It's a matter of what the women will get. And if they're locking up the Summit League title, they should get 3,500, I would hope. So, yeah, that's my first one. Second one, NDSU sweeps the doubleheader, that same doubleheader this Saturday by a combined 60-plus points. The women might take care of that on their own. They beat them by 55 combined on the road. Both the men and women combined in early February. And then my third one, this is my favorite one, guys. UND is going to be a first-round exit / quarterfinal exit in both men and women, giving that leeway in case the women win that game, that play-in game, if you want to call it. And then my fourth one, Avery Coonan will score 20-plus points in every Summit League tournament game that NDSU plays in. You're gonna have to play a lot better than she did last night if that's gonna happen. This last one's kind of interesting, not really NDSU related. It could be if they get in the tournament. At least one 14 seed or lower will win a March Madness game, and you see Jack Golke on here. The reason he's on here, no 14 seed or lower has won since Oakland beat Kentucky in 2024. It's a direct contribution from NIL. These small schools usually can't build up and beat these big power programs. But I think this year it comes back, and someone goes on a Cinderella run.
Well, the best thing back then was if you wanted to pull an upset, just play John Calipari. There's a good shot you're going to win it. So Arkansas may be that team you want to play. You want to play if you're a if you're a 3 or a 4 seed. I don't know what Arkansas is in those bracketologies, but they're in.
I think they're around 5.
Yeah, so they'd be ripe for a 5-12 upset then, like
awesome.
Oklahoma in 2014. The attendance one, this happens every year where the attendance is really good for the UND games.
Yeah.
I was surprised by the attendance number in South Dakota State. It was 3,708. It seemed like more than that, which again, the fans did a great job last night. So I'm not bashing on them at all. They did a great job. Like, I pulled up, I'd say half hour before it, the line was out the door. I mean, that's what you want to see every game they play, not just the big ones. It's kind of like we're in the Fargo Dome, but over to the Shack, where I guess it really does depend on the opponent, doesn't it, when it comes to some of these things.
Yep.
This was a very Peter Havelka kind of one you did for the second one, which is by 60-plus points. That's ambitious, but again, I thought 15-plus was crazy, and that ended up being accurate, so I'll go with that one. UND women are really terrible, and if you make the men play man-to-man defense, they struggle as well. So that one's very possible. And they're playing a South Dakota team that is punching above their weight class because of how many guys are out with injuries, but they're still hanging around, and Jones, their center, I think is coming back, but Cameron Fens is a problem if you don't have size. UND doesn't have it, so we'll see how that one works out. Coonan, I feel good about her in that game against Omaha or UND. She may have 20 at halftime, and then Jory will pull her. St. Thomas and South Dakota State, I doubt it. I'm not trying to dunk on her, but Alyssa Sand's a tough matchup for her, and Meyer's even tougher. So if she can get 20, she should be Summer League Tournament MVP if she somehow scores 20 points in both of those games. Again, I hope to God this happens. I'm all for an upset, especially when the Bison are the ones pulling the upset. But I hope this happens. It makes parity in the NCAA tournament so much more fun because last year there wasn't a lot of it.
No.
It was all 4 number 1 seeds, which I don't think is a detriment. Oh, the college game is dead if it's all number 1 seeds. That's not a bad thing, but there just weren't many upsets.
Yeah.
So I hope these happen. I hope it does.
And you go back to, I think it was 2023 with the Final Four. I mean, I think we had a 9 seed FAU, if I remember right. And then San Diego State was a 5, UConn was a 4. That was fantastic. And then obviously UConn was a 1 the next year. But yeah, I'm all for upsets. I love it when, FDU beats Purdue, who has a 7-footer. That's just that's what college sports are all about.
I mean, to add on Ethan's point, Ethan texted probably well before 6 and was like, the lobby is packed and it's everything. And then I turned to Grant and I think it was when we got moved, and I look up and I'm like, Grant, it's packed in here. Like it felt like it was a lot more than
say upgraded, not moved. Upgrade sounds better than we moved seats. No, we upgraded seats. That's how.
Going on, it was like just looking at everything. I'm like, this is what college basketball is about.
Yep.
I mean, I could definitely see the Avery Coonan one because big time players step up in big time environments and games, and I would love to see that happening. And I gotta go. I think NDSU. I think that take should be like 75. I mean, it's not. I don't think it'll be close. It's gonna be a very good environment, a very great environment, but UND struggles. But it's a rivalry game, so I mean, take what you will. But no, I do like those takes, Ethan. I expect a lot of them to hit.
We'll see if we can get more. What's the most we've got right in a week?
I don't know if anyone's ever gotten 5 out of 5.
No one's gotten that many. I'm talking but at least over 5, like Charles Barkley. Can we at least go over 3?
Yeah.
Have we gotten 3 right?
I'll have to go back and look.
Okay.
I have the spreadsheet, but it's fun to keep track of
these.
This
guy's a Microsoft Suite legend. I mean, seriously. So we'll take that and run.
I love keeping track of stats.
Yes, you do. Speaking of stats, let's go St. Thomas preview for tonight. It's an 8 o'clock tip in St. Paul. Why?
Yeah.
I have no idea. I would like this game to be played at 7 and not 8, but it's at the new arena, Lee and Penny Anderson, so it's at their discretion, I guess. This could be a preview of the Assembly Tournament Championship game right here, boys. The Bison won the first meeting at the Shack, 68-65 on the 17th of January. This is going to be a really fun game to watch. Now, St. Thomas is coming off a loss to Denver, an 82-80 game where, again, Carson Johnson went nuts, and the MSUM guys did their thing late, and they were able to pull it off. The one thing with St. Thomas, Carter Bierke's tall. He can shoot. I don't know what else he does for that team. He can make 10 threes, but is he really going to be a guy down low you're going to worry about? I like Feddersen, and I like Tracy Anderson against this team. I really do.
I mean, my take from it is St. Thomas shoots 51% from the field.
That's pretty good.
It's very good. Both top of the conference in three-pointers made. I believe it's at 9 or something, 9 or so. Best rebounding team versus worst rebounding team. So NDSU needs to dominate the glass on that end. Minnesota and Nick Janikowski. Janowski.
There you go.
They hold 2 out of the 3 top Summit League scoring positions. So that is a plus for them. And guess what, guys? They both shoot 50% over from the field.
Yeah.
Both teams have a positive turnover to forced turnover ratio. But the big key of this game is you need to dominate the paint.
Yeah.
You need big games from Strickland, Feddersen, and Anderson. And you just need to stop the 3 from the Tommies. And you just need to make somebody other than Minnesota beat you.
Yeah.
Lastly, make the St. Thomas defense move. They don't want to play defense in the Summit. That is my key takeaways of this game.
Yeah, I mean, you look at this thing, these stats. St. Thomas shoots really well, and they don't do a whole lot else. I mean, they're last in free throw percentage. That can lose you games when you have leads down the stretch. And then they're the worst rebounding team in the Summit League. That's where the Bison kind of thrive, is down low with Strickland, and you said with Feddersen and Tracy Anderson. It feels like the Bison match up well with them. But if St. Thomas gets hot, watch out. They could be dangerous.
They're puzzling to me. I think is how I would describe them. Like they're clearly the second best team in the league, but
you just don't know how.
They're last in the big statistics. That means something like late in games.
Yeah.
They struggle at the free throw line, and they can't rebound because, again, no offense to Carter Bierke, he's a great shooter, but he doesn't do anything else. They're just puzzling. Is how I would describe them. They're good, but can they maintain that, and can they get out of those 2 games in March and face probably NDSU, maybe Denver in that Summit League Championship game? We're going to find out real quick how good St. Thomas is. We know what UND's story is. They just want to press the hell out of you and hope to God that they force enough turnovers to win. That's just how they play. Got Paul Saylor a new contract, so he's living pretty good. But again, look at the points per game and the points per game allowed. They are the ultimate average basketball team. They can. I don't want to say they can score enough because they struggle shooting the ball. Eli King's their best player, and he had 10 points that mattered against NDSU. 2 points run a breakaway dunk. Otherwise, he only had 10 points. If you're depending on a guy in Zach Kraft as your second best player, I mean, Grayson Yeoman, of course, is a great player. He's the all-time freshman leading scorer, which is pretty good. But their nucleus isn't as good as the Bison, who, again, Dave took offense to the Midco interview he did in Brookings, which was, you have a lot of good players, you don't have any great players. I would say that's more UND, is that they have some good players, but there's no, oh, God, Eli King could drop 40 on me. That's just, they don't have that kind of, Grayson Yeoman's not going to do that to NDSU.
I mean, guys, I think we pretty much know the game plan.
Yeah.
Make UND shoot the basketball.
Yeah.
Make them. UND makes teams turn it over, but they mostly score in chaotic situations, as we've seen in Grand Forks. And I think my biggest question of this game is, will Josh Jones play Saturday?
Yeah.
Because we kind of saw how NDSU dominated the paint. Well, it's another big body, not nearly as good as Feddersen, any of those guys, but it's another big body. And if NDSU dominates the paint and limits turnovers, the crowd will play a huge part, and they can probably put them away at probably 5 to 7 minutes into the second half. I mean, that's how lopsided this game could actually go.
Yeah, I mean, the Bison won at 83-66 on Valentine's Day. What do you got on this one, Anthony?
Yeah, I look at these team stats. I really don't know how this team is 10-5. They were calling themselves the cardiac kids because they win those close games. I think that the record is very deceiving. That's why I'm probably going to pick them to be a first-round exit. I just don't think this is sustainable.
And yet they were the one Dakota school team to not win in Brookings.
Yeah, I think the Bison win this game, and I think they win it big. I think this is going to be a fun game on Saturday.
Speaking of big margins of victory, yeah, that's going to be this one. This one,
Yeah.
this one. The Bison, I would be worried if I was Dennis Hutter and company, because you're playing a team that is mad they lost to South Dakota State. The Bison have a chance to win the conference outright with a win. And again, Jossie Schiller has a chance to sweep her team that she played for last year. And the stats, my goodness, they're bad. UND only scores 59 points a game. We beat this to death. They're the worst three-point shooting team, I think, on either side of the aisle, men's or women's, in the Summit League. They've lost their last 4 straight games, including a loss to NDSU back on February 15th. They lost 87-51 in a game that was close for 10 minutes, and after that it got ugly fast. This is just going to be at least a 20-point win, and let's move on. Let's get to Sioux Falls. That's what Jory's going to have this team locked in to play Saturday. I have no doubt about that.
I mean, it's a possible quarterfinal game in which I don't view that as a quarterfinal game. I view that as a layup.
Yeah.
It's something to prove, and go cut those nets down after this game. Let's prove it. Let's prove that we are. I would like to see NDSU have kind of 8 to 9 3-pointers in this game to kind of like be like, hey, we can still shoot the ball from extent. It's not just a slow start. Put Kunin on Demers and Schiller on Hughes to alter the Hawks attack. And I have no doubt, but fans, please go support the women for this game before the men's game. Please do it.
They're not got a lot of time to cut the nets down, because you got the women's game at 1, the men's game at 4. So you got to get up there, cut the nets down, because they're going to do it right after the women's game is over if they win. So they got to hurry up before the men's game starts. Ethan, what do you got on this game?
Yeah, you want to build momentum going into the tournament, and this is the perfect team to do it on. A rival. Well, I don't know if we can call it a rival at this point, but we'll call it a rival, and it's a team that's just not that great. And you get Kunin going, get your shooters going, get them locked and loaded for the Summit League, and don't get hurt. And then, you mentioned the attendance. Let's get 3,000 something for this game, because last year 2,000 for UND game, that's not good. And it pains me that we have to talk about attendance on this show so much, but it happens.
It does happen. But so, great remainder of the semester for our loyal viewers out there. We appreciate all of you every week. Next week, deep dive into the Summit League tournament. Ethan, we got breaking news though. It's all yours.
Yeah, we'll be in Sioux Falls next weekend. I believe we're going down Thursday. We haven't really hammered on which days we're getting there and what all we're going to do.
Look at those gentlemen, huh? Look at that.
I don't know why I picked that picture. That's awful of me. But anyway. We'll be there covering the games for you guys, men and women, and hopefully we're watching 2 championship celebrations. But it's going to be fun. Me and Peter will be down there. Grant will be busy covering the EDC tournament, calling the games, which that'll be fun too for you.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a fun weekend next week.
So excited to be on press row and being able to do stuff before and after the game, and let's go cut down the nets in Sioux Falls.
Yeah, I will be a part of next week's show, but I won't, because we're going to tape next week's show on Tuesday. Is when we plan to do our show next week, and then they'll be in Sioux Falls Thursday. I'll have a pre-recorded piece on Tuesday, so I'll be here, but I won't be here because I got to do my prep for next week. So I will be doing that. Again, I wish I could be there, but I got bigger things to do, so I will gladly let you guys go ahead and do that. Again, if they're in the NCAA tournament, I'll be I'll be along for that ride. There's no doubt I'll be a part for that. So after next week, though, we'll take spring break off here at NDSU. So the week after Summit League tournament is our spring break. We will step aside for that. But then again, if the NCAA tournament, the Bison are in one or maybe both, we will iron out plans to go one way or the other. We're thinking real seriously about it, but real exciting time here the next couple of weeks.
The next 2 weeks are going to be bucket list type of weeks. If we can, and we talked about the Iowa City thing. If the women get there, I mean that's only what, a 8-hour drive. But
Kuna may have 50 in that game if they play Iowa State.
Yeah, the point being, this is like it's on everyone's bucket list to go to March Madness. That's going to be so much fun if we can do that. So let's, men or women, someone's got to win it this coming weekend.
Yeah, go follow us on X. We now have the blue check mark. We're premium, so go watch us for that. So we'll have more content now. So now we have the articles feature. We'll put some of our Spectrum articles, because again, these guys both are the beat writers for the men's and women's teams. I have stuff occasionally on basketball that I'll put in there as well. So more stuff to come from us through the Spectrum website. Please, it's never a bad idea to go to the website, the Spectrum website. A lot of good content from all of our writers over there. Follower count 489. Let's get to 500. We need 2 subscribers for Ben on their YouTube channel. We need 11 people to follow our account here. So 500. Let's make that happen, please. To close tonight's show, however, we would like to honor the legacy of Scott Miller. Yesterday was the 10th anniversary of his passing. He was the radio voice of Bison Athletics for 20 years, calling 5 national titles for the Bison football teams and 3 men's Summit League championships. He passed away in 2016 from cancer. But again, his my oh my moments will live on forever. So for everyone here at Bison Overtime, thank you for watching. Go Bison. We'll see you next week with Summit League Preview.